Hello, my name is Sam Walsh. Thomas was in a very bad way. For a week, he had been in denial that Jesus was raised from the dead. Hello, my name is Sam Walsh. After the resurrection, Thomas was not with the disciples when Jesus appeared to the rest of them. And so in that passage we find in John chapter 20 how Thomas went through a week of doubt and Jesus appeared to him in his grace. Now Thomas, called Didymus, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe it." A week later, the disciples were in the house again, and Thomas was with them. Though the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here, see my hands, reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." And Thomas said to him, "My Lord and my God." Then Jesus said to him, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." And the Apostle John goes on to write, "Jesus did many other miraculous signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not recorded in this book, but these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name." We see how Jesus came to Thomas and to the other disciples with peace and with grace and forgiveness for Thomas for his doubt. He wanted to move him from being doubting Thomas to believing Thomas. And when Thomas saw Jesus and the evidence there, he believed, and he said, "My Lord and my God." We also can believe and have even greater blessing than Thomas had. Because, as it says here, "Blessed are these that have not seen and have believed." So we think about that blessing, and we can participate in that in the new life that has already begun. Thomas changed his life because of this when he said, "My Lord and my God." He went on to become a missionary, if tradition is correct. He went to Persia and all the way to India, proclaiming the good news to those that had not seen Jesus and yet would believe. And so we can have that blessing too of believing the disciples' message, believing Thomas and his confession of faith. We can abide in Christ because we have believed in the testimony. Faith in these things is not a blind faith. Faith is reasonable because it's faith in the evidence. Others have seen and believed. We too will be blessed and believe, even though we have not seen Jesus face to face yet. But there is coming a day where we will see him, and there is hope in Christ that way. I hope that you also will be changed by faith in Christ that allows us to believe upon the evidence, even though we haven't seen it. Believe upon the testimony of the disciples. And then have a changed life too, a new life of blessing that allows us to do wonderful things beyond what we could ever have imagined. So Thomas moved from becoming doubting Thomas to believing Thomas, and had a greater life because of that. And you too will have a better life because you are a believing person. May the Lord bless you with great belief and trust in him.